Excited to have on Mateo's Magic Bus, Eric Foss. He's a drummer, entrepreneur, songwriter from Minneapolis. I think that's probably all that's an understatement. Has been doing a lot of great stuff for a number of years, and the proprietor and founder, I think, of Secret Stash Records, co-founder of the band, just skipping a stone. The band Sonny Night and the Lakers has a new album out of time, and which also a great soulful album. We've been listening to all this stuff for the last hour and a half. Ace Box Shift, and as a musician, plays under the alias of Cy Pierpont and has close ties here in Grand County. Spends time here every year, and his music definitely crosses widely with Mateo's Magic Bus and what we play here, jazz, soul, blues. And so we're going to talk about all of that, his connection to Grand County, Secret Stash label, and his incredible accomplishments as a musician. Super excited and a big KFFR welcome to you, Eric.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is awesome.
All right, Eric, let's dial it back. Start with your origin story. I'd love to hear sort of, early influences, how you came up and, sort of what led you into the musical field and kind of lead us up to that. And then I've got another question for you, and then we're going to dive into Secret Stash and the bands you're playing with and initiatives you got going on.
Yeah, so I grew up in a first string suburb of Minneapolis. Um, Graduated high school in 2003, just to kind of give an idea of the era that I came up in.
Hmm.
And I started taking piano lessons when I was quite young, and then trumpet as I got a little older, and really learned to play more like pop music sort of stuff in church. You'd get like the sheet that would have all the song lyrics for the worship songs, and then the chord changes above them, right? And it's like a bunch of the guys would get together, and it's like, oh, one day you're playing guitar, the next day you're playing bass, the next day you're drumming, and you're all just kind of like switching off doing so. And
What
you're
great
like, what?
training, huh? And you're
Yeah,
live.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
In like seventh, eighth grade, there was always like a band leader who was older, like a high school kid or like a young like youth pastor, and he just sort of like kept it on the rails the best he could, and it was a really great way to learn. And then obviously involved in the band program growing up, and that's where I had a little bit more formal learning. So I got bit with the bug early on. But definitely not. I can't say, obviously you've kind of learned a bit about it, but my career is very R&B, soul related and adjacent, whether it's through my reissues or the groups I've put together and played in.
Yep.
But I didn't like necessarily come up that way. I came up in the most typical way you could think of. Kid in suburban Minneapolis in 2003. It's like going to Warped Tour and listening to pop punk bands and
Right,
uh,
right. So it
all
wasn't
that.
an AME gospel church that you were playing in to
It,
start. You had to kind of
no,
come into
no.
that. You had to come into
I,
that yourself.
honestly, it's about as like uninteresting as you could write it. You know what I mean? Very, very.
Oh,
Just
good.
if you just imagine suburban Minneapolis, it's a pretty good guess, just like musically and what was going on as far as that goes. So it wasn't
Sure.
until I got a little older, I couldn't even say. I think the first like funk album that bam just like hit me between the eyes and sort of changed things for me was "There's a Riot Going On" by Sly and the Family Stone. Like the
Nice.
first time I heard it, I was just like, "What
You're like,
is
okay, that's
this?"
it. Those are
Yeah,
my
that's
people.
yeah, yeah. That pretty much probably kind of turned the wheel a little bit as far as my career would go. And then founded Secret Stash. Oh gosh, 2000. I should know this stuff. It's been a long time. Oh no, 2007. It's been a long time.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
look back to in Discogs, and
yeah.
you had an album, I think you produced it. I mean, it was that your first one? I mean, coming out of the gates, it was Blind Boys of Alabama Revisited, like Jimmy
That would
Vaughn
have
was
been
on it.
even. Yep, yep. Some of that stuff is even before I started Secret Stash and I was working for other people. So
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
sometimes I started young. All right, so like I got my first label internship when I was 17. I maybe had turned 18
Wow.
by that point. So I mean I went to school. at a now defunct McNally Smith College of Music. Actually, it was called Music Tech when I went there. Then they
Mm.
changed their names. Then they went out of business. But yeah, so I like right out of high school into the music business program, immediately into an internship. So it's kind of all I've ever done. You know what I mean? Even like while I was going to school, I had a gig for a while teaching private lessons. So with a few little exceptions, as a youngster, it's really all I've done. So yeah, when you look back, it's like, oh my gosh, we're talking over 20 years. Well, sure, when you start when you're 17, 18 years old,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Well,
So
in your ties to Greene County, give us a quick highlight of that. You're here a couple times a year, and we're gonna try
when
and
I'm lucky,
rope you into that.
however much I'm there, it's not enough. My family just, would take trips out to Winter Park for skiing
Hmm.
when we were kids. And as soon as my older brother graduated high school, he found a college to go to in Denver and he was gone. And then my younger brother found a job in Denver and then he was gone. And then my parents moved to Grand County and so like everyone's out
Wow.
there. And I just,
Okay.
I've got the label has such Minneapolis roots.
Hmm.
Like I've really laid down roots and there's kind of a community around it here. So the idea of kind of uprooting it is
It doesn't
a little
uproot.
scary. Yeah, I
That's the
mean,
whole idea of a root, right? I mean, and Minneapolis
yeah.
is a great town. I've been there a few times in the last
Oh, cool.
couple months, and
Yeah, yeah.
I love that city. It's
We've
really,
got a lot of good musicians. So
yeah.
as far as like the new music side of it goes, if I'm trying to put together a group or hire people, like the Pierpont and Helgeson record, anything that Riley Helgeson and myself couldn't do, it was like just a phone call. And you got like a tier of musicians that I'm not saying you can't find them anywhere else, but I am saying you can't find them just anywhere, right?
Hmm.
Like, to just like, oh, here's top tier string players, or like we need, uh, kind of a world class reads guy that can show up and sight read anything like that, and who's well versed in the genre and style. So there's things that are very, as far as the music thing goes, very unique to being here, and I've got enough connections here. So
Well, and I think a lot of our listeners probably wonder this, like, okay, how do you how do you start a record label? Like, and
yeah, the
and,
the best answer
and
is you just do it.
right. Well, it's kind of one of those mystery meat things, right? You just hear like, oh, label, it's on this label, it's blah blah
Yeah,
blah. Like just take us through that
yeah.
experience. Yeah.
So I had already worked for another label and then did some consulting, sort of like a hired gun working remotely for a few other labels. And you mentioned that Blind Boys thing.
Hmm.
I did a lot of work in black gospel music when I was real young, a lot of older
Awesome.
stuff, a few newer
Talk
records.
about roots, huh?
Yeah. It was a
Yeah.
great like learning experience. Musically, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Um, so look, here's the deal. A record label's What a record label does is they own or control the rights to music and they distribute that music to monetize those rights. All that is a way of saying the record label has the music and they need to sell it, or nowadays selling it is like getting it on streaming services and getting paid like a quarter of a penny every time someone listens to it. So at the time, I really had gotten quite, I don't want to say quite good, because I learned a lot about music distribution. I'd worked
Right.
with several distributors, big and small. So I knew like, okay, once you have a label, what you need to do is go get your products manufactured. This is still the era like pre-streaming. You go get your products manufactured, you sell to a distributor who sells to record shops. So like on day one, I knew what I was doing. Just open the doors, started calling distributors, started ship. I mean, our
No
first few
training wheels.
records, yeah, it was just like, let's go.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But yeah, if anyone were ever interested in doing it, it's easier now than ever in some sense because of sort of like the democratization of music distribution. The
Hmm.
problem is like when we started, we were a vinyl only label, and we were I really think quite far ahead of like the resurgence in vinyl. So there weren't like, basically what happened is after us and a handful, a big handful, but a handful of other little indie vinyl labels kind of grew, major labels were like, oh, well, we control like 80% of the music in the world. So now we'll just start reissuing our back catalog on vinyl. And any new artist, guess what? We'll press up vinyl. So all of a sudden, all this shelf space at the retailers that was split between, let's just say, Secret Stash and within our sort of like niche reissue genres, it's split between Secret Stash and maybe like 50 other indie labels. Well, okay,
Right.
well now you have to share that with the major labels, and they can go in and reissue Miles Davis and Paul Simon and you like anything you can think of, and they can do enough volume where their manufacturing costs come down and they can sell this. The first time I walked into our local shop, the Electric Fetus is like kind of the big local shop here, and I saw like 20 Blue Note reissues for $9.99, and I was like, "Oh, this is over. I'm done. I'm done for." So yeah, in some ways it's harder because there's a bigger fight for shelf space at retailers. On the other hand, just open a Bandcamp page, start an Instagram, build
Yep.
relationships with customers. You know,
Yeah,
so
and one of the, I think maybe a peer, we have a lot of artists from coal mine in Ohio,
oh
and
sweet, yeah,
I think those guys probably, or you guys probably know each other. Those two brothers who, Terry Cole, and I
hey,
mean, it's like ground up. This guy kicked,
oh for sure.
he threw,
Dude was like a high
basically,
school teacher when he launched the label.
yeah,
Like
he
still a
ditched
full
it.
time teacher when he launched. He's not now, but like yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's good. It's great stuff. So, uh, the other side
Yeah.
of you, so you're not just in the business of, but you're a musician as well, and some highlights of that. We've got some of the new stuff, and we've been playing it on the show today, and really love your new album.
Oh, thanks, man.
The but Sunny Night, and that seemed to be sort of a peak for you. I mean, you helped
For sure.
found that, and that was a
For
big
sure.
deal, right? Those
That
guys
was a
are,
real big deal. And
yeah,
and um the way it ended was with Sonny passing away. So it
yeah.
was just like um it happened, I would say, relatively fast. He passed away of lung cancer, and like, oh, okay, I just lost one of my best friends and my band and like half of my career.
Wow. Yeah.
Like it
So
just boom.
talk about it, life changing. Yeah. And
Yeah.
not, none of it good, in terms of that moment, right? You're
Right,
just
right.
like loss, loss, loss.
Yeah,
And
so we lost Sonny in 2017, and it wasn't long after that. In fact, when he was sick, like before he passed away, I decided to close. We had like a big office where we managed all our own distribution out of, and a nice sized, pretty good sounding recording studio. And when it became apparent to me that Sonny wasn't going to be well enough to cut any more records, I was like, I'm letting this space go. Like I can figure out another solution for the distribution side, but like I don't need a recording studio. I had no interest in like finding a new Sunny Night. You know what I mean? I was like, this
right,
thing has run
right,
its course. I'm moving on. So I closed the studio. And then around that time, I got into licensing the catalog of music that we control out to film and television and commercials. And that really took off. And if I'm being honest, it's a much better business than slinging records, a few
right,
at a
right,
time.
right.
Um, but the last few years, I've just kind of been like missing. I just have a passion for making and selling records, whether they're my records or reissues, whatever it is. I've just really missed it. So we're kind of getting back into that. During the pandemic, I built a little home studio. So that's where the Pierpont actually and the Ace box, those records were cut in my little home studio in St. Paul. It's 20 by
Nice.
20 room above a detached garage, one room
Excellent.
studio. And then I moved in April. This is my new studio.
It looks great. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's a cool little spot.
Yep.
Um, yeah,
So,
so go ahead. Yeah,
yeah, so just want to remind our listeners we're in the booth with Eric Foss, who is the leader of Secret Stash Records, a label based in Minneapolis, as is he, but he has great great connection to Grand County here and is here often through his family and through his growing up, and also is a great musician, drummer, multi-instrumentalist. We'll talk about that too in his new album. Going into that, why don't we jump into that? Talk to me about this new album. Nice cover work though too, by the way. I love
Oh
that cover.
man,
It's
my
great,
my
but the
but
album is really is
yeah,
beautiful.
my buddy Jeff Silverman, he goes by Jeff Dynamite,
Mm,
did the graphic design.
nice.
Jeff's a bad boy. He's one of those like Brooklyn soul guys that was around kind of the L. Michaels affair, Charles Bradley, Sharon Jones scene, kind of like
Oh, nice.
around
Yeah.
that. And he worked with, you ever do you remember Soulfire Records and
Yep.
Desco Records? You know,
Mm,
Desco was like Gabe Roth's label before Daptone. So the guy that ran Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings had Daptone Records, and before that, he had another label called Desco. Anyways, Jeff worked with Philip, who was the guy that kind of started all that
I
stuff. This
I
bonkers.
literally I have Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings Midnight Rider sitting right on my list
Oh
of what
yeah.
I was going to play today, and I just haven't gotten to it. So
Oh
it's
nice.
like, yeah, and she
Yeah.
passed
Yeah.
not long after a Sunny Night did, like
Yeah.
20 years
And
ago.
Charles Bradley, they all kind of
Hmm.
went really in short order. But yeah, so Jeff did the design work. Yeah, so look, that record is Cy Pierpont is my pen name, and Riley Helgeson was the trumpet player in Sunny Night and the Lakers.
Okay.
And after I built the studio, I started kind of working on some new music, and I was like, I need I need more. I need to get someone in here and start like collaborating. So I called him, and we have a handful of records. There's actually a couple tracks that have been released digitally under the name the Highbridge Band,
Hmm.
and
Okay.
it sounds like Sunny Night and the Lakers without Sunny Night. Like it sounds like if that band kind of made instrumental records. Not, I'm not saying that. So I played everything except the horns on that stuff. And I don't
Hmm.
mean to say that like I can replace the other players in Sunny
Yeah,
Night,
yeah,
but I'm just
yeah.
saying it's that vibe. If someone was like, oh, these are the two projects and this guy ran both of them, you'd be like, oh, duh. Um, there's a tune on Of Time called Billy the Kid. And as we were making all these Highbridge songs, Billy the Kid sort of came out of it. And it was like, boop, that's where we just turned the corner and all of a sudden got into that sort of like film spy vibe, spaghetti western. There's all these like tremolo guitars and all this
Yep.
stuff happening. But we didn't really talk about it. We did that tune, and then I started working on the next tune. I was like, oh, that was fun. I'm going to kind of chase that vibe. And then another tune. I think it was once we had like three of them in the bag. It's like, hey, Riley, I think we're doing something totally different than we set out to do. So we had a conversation about it. It's like, all right, this is the thing we need to do. We need to put our time and energy, and I just spend a little money like hiring players and stuff. As you've heard the record, there's a lot. The instrumentation it's big. There's tons of strings and horns and
It
percussion,
is.
and
Yeah.
yeah. So Riley and I composed all of it. Almost all the tunes we kind of composed together. I play basically all the rhythm section stuff on it. There's a percussionist friend of mine, Tony Schreiner, who's on, I want to say 3 tracks. If you hear like really good like congas on something, it's probably Tony and not
Okay.
me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I
No,
played
but
all the guitars, all
you're a killer drummer, man. I mean, some of the stuff we were
oh
playing
thank you.
earlier, I was just like, wow, you're filling it up. So,
Thanks, man.
definitely appreciate
One
that.
fun thing about producing these records myself, engineering and producing them, is like I do feel that when you listen to them, it's like, oh yeah, a drummer made these records. I'm not saying because the drumming is so good. I am saying because it's like the center of everything. Like
Hmm.
you can just kind of feel like everything is very groove driven. Like the Ace Box stuff is just like
Yep.
kind of relentless drumming. Like there's just a lot of notes being played on the drums, and
Yeah.
it's kind of right in your face.
Yeah. No,
Um,
it's a good thing. And I think that's different in and of itself. I mean, especially now, I don't think there's a lot of, growing up with, you know, I was, a little bit, few years older, listening to Bonham and Keith Moon and,
oh yeah,
these
yeah,
bands that were drummer forward.
Right.
Or drummer bass, they just happen to have that magic twin,
Yeah.
that drummer and bass combo that really, without that, those bands would have been nothing. And it's something I feel like it's been on the wane. Like folks
Yeah. And
maybe
then when you
don't have the
when you
guts to do that.
hear it, when you see that sort of thing in the wild, it's it's awesome.
Yeah, people love
Um,
it live.
the
Hmm.
the best what comes to mind when you say that to me is I think of a band I'm still a fan of is Dave Matthews Band, and like that's a drummer forward band. Like he's just a monster.
He's a monster.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No,
And
no,
like
totally.
the band, love the band, hate them, whatever. Like it's just like wow.
Yeah. Well, in live, it's a whole different thing, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
there,
yeah,
people flock to see them live,
yeah,
and that's
yeah.
part of the reason. I had on the cinematic front, it's very interesting. There haven't been a lot of examples, but I had the band, the guys, the Ironsides. Do you know those guys?
Dude,
San
they
Francisco
they
band.
they opened a Sunny Night in the Lakers show
No
in
way.
it was either Seattle or San Francisco.
Yeah, they're based, I think, in Northern California, yeah, in San
It was
Francisco
San
area.
Francisco.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. It was they were the backing band. I don't know if you ever heard any of the Gene Washington and
Oh
the
yeah, oh
Ironsides.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Gene Washington and the Ironsides. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So
Sure.
I met him like whatever that was, 12 years ago. It was a long time ago. And I heard that changing light,
Yeah,
shifting light,
that was like a couple of years ago, or a year and a half ago.
jaw dropping.
It's
Jaw dropping. Like
same thing,
one of the
but
finest records. It's so good.
it's good. But you guys pulled it off. I mean, you're doing kind of the same vibe,
Sure,
and
sure.
the songwriting's really good, and the playing, like you guys nailed it.
I really appreciate that because that's one thing we talk about a lot is like uh is the compositional value of the songwriting. That like there are a lot of bands, a bunch you've probably never even heard of. Just go onto Spotify or whatever streaming service if you use one and go to like the Pierpont and Helgeson radio and it'll start
Hmm.
serving up stuff that's in it's sort of in that lane. And the thing that I always want the thing that sets us apart is sort of the thoughtfulness of the composition
Yeah.
because and I love that Ironsides record. But just to hear what you said about like the songwriting, I have a thing about like there's a lot of guys and gals doing this that like it's all vibe. There's no meat on the bone. Like the composition, like the
Mm-mm.
quality of songwriting and like thoughtful arranging isn't there. They nail the vibe. Sometimes I hear it and I'm like, God, why can't I get my drums to sound like that? And those strings are so good. But then I'm like, but the composite, the song, like where, you know what I mean? It's just
It,
not there.
for 6 years now, I've had to tee up, 2 hours of music every week,
Yeah,
and I don't know how the guys do it every day, but here at KFFR, we're all volunteers, and
sure.
we do. There's like 70 DJs now, up from like
Yeah.
20 when
Wow.
I first started.
Yeah.
But to sit down and have to put together, that list, and then so you go through a lot of music, a lot of, I try to play a lot of new music, and that is the thing you recognize right away is like, okay, there's something else going on here. What is that? It's the songwriting, it's the playing. There's a lot of great bands that play well, but it's just, it's weak.
Yep.
The songwriting is not as good.
Yep.
So
And with the
you're
sort of
good.
like DIY production home studio thing, there's just no shortage of people making really cool sounding stuff.
Hmm.
Right? Like,
Right.
oh man, those drums are all blown up and cool, and oh, listen to that like warbly synthesizer and the spring reverb on the snare is so trippy, and it's like, but wait, that's it. Like,
Right.
where's
After
the
after an hour, you're like, I can't listen to this ever
yeah, or
again.
after a couple minutes, you know. So
Um,
yeah, that
that's
really makes
cool.
me feel seen. That's the thing that
All
we're
right.
always after.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
that's
cool.
huge. And so looking into I'm glad we've just continued on. I'm just gonna finish. I've got up till the top of the hour, and then I've got to clear out for the next for DJ Lala. But
Sweet.
uh, so I'm glad time flies, as they say.
Oh yeah, man. Oh,
So
I once you get me going, man.
yeah, yeah. No, man, this is good. This is good. Well, and we're gonna rope you in too. So as I was telling you about before we got started, we've got the new sound of Greene County here. KFFR has really been taking off, and so definitely want to keep the discussion going to see if we can get you in for one of those when you're here, and however that would happen. But also just to continue be an outlet for your music, and
Yeah, cool,
uh,
man.
and because there's more and more of us playing soul and jazz and blues and on the station now as we get more and more
Oh, that
DJs.
warms my heart. It's
Yeah,
just one more
yeah.
reason I got to come spend more time, man.
It's true. It's true. It's now a business thing,
I was
man.
gonna
You
say
gotta
you're
get
saying
it
this, and I'm just thinking right
right,
off.
right off. So looking into your crystal ball, what lies ahead for you? What
Yeah,
projects you
so
working on?
sure. Riley and I are half done writing the next record and about a third done tracking the basics. So that's
Mhm.
already, we're working on that. I've got a bunch more high bridge band tracks in the can that I have not yet released. I have a very cool, I think it's actually 2 7 inches worth, so 4 tracks of stuff that Blair from Ace Box, and he's also a Sunny Night in the Lakers alum.
Awesome.
It's me, Blair, and a female vocalist friend of ours, and it's like kind of a Bill Withers early '70s vibe.
Oh,
It's
stop.
really not like the bombastic in your face thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's real laid back. There's like
Oh, I love
acoustic
that.
guitars, and yeah, it's cool, but
Yeah.
it's funky. It's so that's super cool. I'm working on a rock steady Jamaican compilation. Yep, of
Oh
like
man,
reissue stuff.
I can't wait for all
And
this stuff.
if you ever get a chance, I don't know if you've come across it yet, but almost 15 years ago, I produced a couple 7 inches by a group called the Valdons, and they were an old
Hmm,
'70s Minneapolis group. We're running
nice.
out of time, so I won't go deep into it. But I'm
Yeah.
I'm pressing up another old Valdons track early next year on 7 inch. So yeah, man, I'll keep you in
Awesome.
the loop. Lots of stuff.
Eric, you're great, man, and you're doing great work, and can't wait to have you on stage here at KFFR or more than that. And
Sweet. Yeah,
so
we'll
let's
have to
keep
hang for sure
talking.
next time I'm out there.
Yeah, appreciate your time, and we'll do some follow up as well, and get all this stuff posted so you can take it out, man. So best of luck with everything you got in Horizon. Happy holidays, and appreciate you coming on Mateo's Magic Bus, KFFR, KWTR.
Oh, I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
All right, be good. Take
Yeah,
care.
later.
All right, bye bye.